The world of freight, it's high stakes, right? Every single decision matters. But what if the biggest decision you make, who you trust with your freight, is a total shot in the dark? Well, there's a new bill in Washington that's looking to shake everything up for shippers, brokers, and carriers. So let's get into it and unpack what this whole fight for freight is really about.
I want you to think about this for a second. When you, as a broker or a shipper, hire a carrier, what are you really doing? You're handing over, potentially millions of dollars in goods, not to mention your company's good name, to a driver in a truck you've probably never even seen before. Is that just a calculated risk, or is it more like a trust fall with a lawsuit waiting at the bottom? This one question, right here, is at the absolute center of a massive debate that's rocking the industry.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll talk about the carrier selection gamble, what it's like right now. Then we'll look at this new proposed safety standard. We've got to hear the broker side of things, and then, you guessed it, the driver's demand for transparency. After that, we'll figure out where this leaves everybody, and most importantly, how you can use compliance to get ahead.
Okay, first up, the carrier selection gamble. Let's really set the stage here, because this is the core problem that folks are dealing with day in and day out. It's all about the massive gamble they take with every single load.
You know, right now, the whole scene can feel like the Wild West. Seriously. A ton of motor carriers, and I mean a significant number, are operating without any formal safety rating. Think about that. It creates this huge blind spot. If you're a broker, how are you supposed to vet a carrier with any real confidence? How do you know they're actually safe on the road and not just looking good on paper? This isn't just some small headache. It is a giant legal and financial sword hanging over your head with every contract you sign. So to try and bring some law and order to this Wild West situation, lawmakers have put a bill back on the table. The whole idea is to create one clear federal standard for safety. Let's dig into what this thing is actually all about. Okay, so what is this Motor Carrier Safety Selection Standard Act? Basically, it's pretty simple. The bill says that if you're a broker or a shipper, you are only allowed to hire trucking companies that check 3 specific boxes: federal safety, insurance, and registration requirements. That's it. The whole point is to create a single national baseline for what a safe and legit carrier actually looks like. So, what are these 3 magic requirements? The bill calls them the 3 pillars of a safe carrier. Number 1, you've got to be registered with the FMCSA. Simple enough. Number 2, you need a valid operating authority. You have to actually be allowed to haul freight. And number 3, you have to meet the minimum required insurance levels. It's like a simple 3-point checklist to cover the absolute basics, the stuff that really matters.
But here's the really cool part. It's how they want to do this. It's not about you having to dig through 100 different databases or make a dozen phone calls. Nope. The bill would make the FMCSA create a simple public website. Just imagine it, like a search bar where you type in a carrier's name and boom, a big green checkmark pops up saying, yep, they're good to go. It would make the whole process so much easier and more transparent than anything we have today.
Now, don't think this is some new idea that just popped up overnight. Oh no, this has been a long time coming. We're talking about a decade-long push. The TIA, that's the group that represents the brokers, they've been lobbying for something like this since the early 2010s. Different versions of this bill have come and gone, and now it's back again with the real shot of being included in the big highway bill. That just goes to show you how long this has been a major pain point for the industry.
All right, so we get the bill, but who's really behind it? Who's pushing for it, and what's their angle? Let's look at this from the broker's side of the story, from the TIA and the big 3PLs.
So Daniel Hoff over at the TIA, he lays it out pretty clearly. For them, it's all about creating a standardized approach. They believe this bill is going to raise the bar for everyone, make things safer, and make it crystal clear who's accountable when something goes wrong. It's about getting rid of this messy patchwork system where everyone does their own thing, and instead creating one single, reliable national standard. Okay, but a lot of people hear this and think, aha, the brokers just want a get-out-of-jail-free card for lawsuits, right? Well, Dorothy Capers from C.H. Robinson, one of the biggest players in the game, tackles that idea head-on. She says, look, this is not a liability shield. It's not about getting rid of responsibility, it's about defining it. Her point is, why should a broker be held liable for hiring a carrier that the FMCSA itself says is safe to be on the road? It's just common sense, right? No one should be giving freight to a carrier that the government is already ordered to stop driving.
And here's where things get really interesting. Because right at the same time brokers are asking for all this transparency on carrier safety, the carriers, especially your owner-operators and the smaller fleets, are turning around and demanding transparency from the brokers on a totally different topic: money.
And this is the core of the conflict. This is the question that's just lighting up the whole industry. It feels a little hypocritical, doesn't it? If brokers want transparency from carriers, why are they fighting tooth and nail against being transparent themselves?
So here's what's going on. There's another rule being looked at by the FMCSA, one that would make brokers show carriers the full transaction record, basically what the shipper paid them for the load. And the TIA? They are fighting this hard. They argue that those rates are private business deals, and they have confidentiality agreements with their customers. For them, this rule is a direct threat to how they do business.
But the drivers, they see this in a completely different light. You've got guys like Leander Richmond from Carriers United, and he's not mincing words. He says that these billion-dollar brokers are using their power and influence to just erase the protections that were put in place for carriers in the first place. The feeling out there on the road is that brokers are hiding huge profits and just flexing their muscle over the small businesses that are the true backbone of the supply chain.
So let's put it all on the table, the two sides of this transparency fight. On one side, you have the brokers saying, hey, these rights are private. We have confidentiality agreements. The old rules don't apply anymore. But on the other side, you've got the driver saying, no way. We have a legal right to see those records. Hiding them is breaking the law, and you're just using your power to squeeze us. It's like they're living in two totally different realities, looking at the very same problem.
Okay, so now it's your turn. I really want to know what you think. Who's right here? Are the brokers' confidentiality agreements just a normal part of business, or should they be required to open up their books for the carriers to see? This is a massive issue. Jump into the comments below and let me know where you stand on this. I'm really curious to see what you all think.
So, we've got these two huge fights happening at once. One is about safety, the other is about money. The whole industry is stuck at this massive crossroads. So, what does this mean for you, for the carriers out there on the road right now?
Honestly, it's pretty much a stalemate. Everyone seems to agree that, yeah, higher safety standards would be great. But when it comes to broker transparency, the industry is completely split down the middle. This whole mess makes the future of that safety bill totally uncertain, and it leaves carriers like you in a really tough position. And let's be real, sitting around and waiting for Washington to figure it out, that is not a business plan. All right, so enough about the political mess, let's pivot. Let's talk about what you can control. Instead of just waiting for the rules of the game to change, how can you change your game right now? Let's talk about how you can create your own advantage no matter what happens in Washington.
Listen, this is the key takeaway. In a world this full of uncertainty, being able to prove, verifiably prove, that you are compliant and safe, that is your ultimate weapon. It's your shield that protects you, and it's your sword that helps you go out and win the best loads from the best partners.
So how do you do it? How do you build that rock-solid reputation? It's about more than just checking a box. It's about building a fortress of compliance. We're talking about having a DOT drug and alcohol testing program that goes above and beyond. It means having a top-notch consortium or TPA managing your program, so you're always audit ready. It means making sure your clearinghouse reporting is flawless, so there are never any questions about your drivers. That is the kind of stuff that makes you the carrier that the best brokers and shippers are looking for. The one they don't even have to think twice about hiring. And of course, that's what a partner like LabWorks USA helps you do. Build that fortress so you can focus on moving freight.
So let's wrap it up with this question. The political battles, they're going to keep going. That's a given. But the real question isn't for them, it's for you. For the carriers, the owner-operators, the fleet managers out there. Are you going to wait for someone else to change the game? Or are you ready to change your own game? Are you ready to make your compliance your single greatest advantage on the road?
Hey, if you were inspired by this, do us a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, LabWorks USA. And feel free to share this with anyone you think needs to see it. Thank you so much for tuning in.